All right. First, we're going to talk about my guys at the quarterback position, starting with Drake May. He's still my QB2 by a large margin. More than likely, he's my QBB, 1B to Drake May's, Caleb Williams 1A. There's too many slander out there going on, too many negative comments out there instead of positive, which makes me think it's a lot of smokescreen. New England, Minnesota, anybody outside the top two is just putting out there to convince Washington to not take Drake May, which makes too much sense on how the CJ Stroud slander happened last year, which didn't work, but still, do what you gotta do. But yeah, Drake May, one of my guys. I know, he's an elite prospect, but I just can't get over all the slander that's been going on. And moving on, I got Spencer Rattler. I still have a late second grade. I don't think he's gonna be a franchise quarterback right away. But ever since he left Oklahoma and when he got benched by Caleb, he's been doing better, slowly, getting better since then. He never put that elite season in college, but he has elite traits that NFL scouts love, that they think they can, groom and hopefully turn into a viable starter. I think he's gonna be, at best, he's gonna be a middle tier starting quarterback if he does get a chance, which I think he would, assuming he gets early draft capital, like late second possibly. And then finally, I got one of my sleepers, Keaton Slovis, just based solely on athletic ability, and he's shown elite traits in college. Unfortunately, those elite traits was during his freshman year, and we haven't seen him since then. But we've seen, flashes of that Drew Brees kind of game between, in the middle of the field, short passes, very accurate and very quick release, but he just never put it together after that amazing freshman year. So Keaton Slovis, probably late day 3 pick. Then moving on to the running backs, one of my favorite running back in this class is Blake Corum, purely based on his running back ability. Essentially the best pure running back in this class. No one else comes close. He got great vision, great power, great contact balance. The only problem is he's kind of small, but he kind of used that to advantage. And he's still improving in the passing game, although he wasn't used a lot, because I haven't really watched some of his pass blocking tape in which he actually succeeded often. I've seen flashes, but it wasn't very consistent. But there are, like I said, flashes that he can pass block good enough. The problem is he's too small, and that's gonna get taken advantage in the league. And also he's kind of old. So, but then at running back position, that's not really a huge red flag, essentially because most teams just use that rookie contract and just let him go on free agency. So next, I got Tyron Tracy Jr., wide receiver. Former wide receiver, became a running back. He actually had a good season, although it's not one of those elite seasons that a lot of running backs have that gets drafted first couple days. But Tyron Tracy is more of a deep sleeper. Just has that versatility that you'd want, and those day 3 picks that has starter traits that he's shown. Hopefully, he gets a chance, but at worst, he'll be a great special teams player. And then finally, Dylan Laube, one of the more elite pass catchers in this league. A lot of teams value that nowadays. They got that second or third running back specifically as a pass catcher, and he should get drafted. I think earliest probably 5th round, but for definitely day 3. Then moving on here, we got Then we move on to my wide receiver list. One of my favorite athlete slash wide receivers in this class is AD Mitchell. There's just like 40% of his tape, he just looks so smooth. One of the like smoothest wide receivers in this class. He knows how to run routes. The only problem is he takes some plays off, which probably rubs, a lot of scouts the wrong way, which makes sense because you gotta, you gotta play 100% of the time for choose, so nobody questions your ability and your love for the game. So that's one of the biggest knocks on AD Mitchell. He has shown elite, traits and abilities as a wide receiver. It's just hasn't consistently put it in like 4-game stretch, and he has terrible what's it called, deep statistic metrics that a lot of NFL nerds hate. He just didn't look good in terms of, if you look deeper into his statistics. But as a pure, individual wide receiver, if you look at, what he's shown on film, he has that top dog mentality, that wide receiver one mentality. He has as much ceiling as anybody in this wide receiver class, but outside of the top 3, he probably has the worst floor. There's a chance he might not even be a starter in this league if he doesn't, get his stuff together. But athleticism wise, like what's it called, route running wise, like what's he shown, he is in that, elite tier. But like I said, he needs to put it together. And then next I got Tez Walker, one of my favorite wide receivers in this class. Before the Senior Bowl, and unfortunately after the Senior Bowl or during the Senior Bowl, he completely tanked his value, and he hasn't gotten it back yet. Although he had an amazing what's it called, a combine, where everyone expected it, but actually having it on the field and have the athletic testing, definitely a plus. Unfortunately, like I said, everyone expected it, so I didn't really bump up his draft grade after that horrible Senior Bowl week. So a lot of people have him like a 3rd, 4th round prospect. I still have a late 2nd because, like I said, size, speed, and what's he's shown on the field on burst, that he can be that wide receiver one. He has that wide receiver one potential like a lot of the 2nd round guys don't have. Like they do have, speed, but they don't have the size. They have size, but they don't have speed. Tez has that size and speed that you're looking for, and everyone's gonna fall in love like the Panthers did with Mingo last year because of that size and speed. But we'll see. Still have a late 2nd grade. And then finally, to round out my wide receiver, my guys, is Jamari Thrash, who's just smooth as a rock. He's like a poor man's AD Mitchell, but he doesn't have the AD Mitchell size or like athleticism. It's just, he's gonna be a good route runner in the league. He's shown that in college. He reminds me of, I think my comp was Dontavion Wicks from the Packers. So Jamari Thrash, keep that. I think he'll be like I don't think he'll be a 3rd round pick, but definitely early day 3 for sure. And then finally, my tight ends. A lot of these tight ends are just elite athletes that I like. Theo Johnson first, elite athlete, but he's already a good blocker. He's shown to be a decent catcher if given the opportunity, but he just wasn't given a lot of opportunity as a pass catcher. But like I said, he's shown that, and with that elite athleticism he had and pretty good blocking techniques, he'll be on the field early for those traits, and hopefully he develops, as a pass catcher. And then next, similar to Theo Johnson, I got Tip Raymond, who's a much better blocker. Not as great of an athlete, but he's in that 9.6 plus RAS grade in terms of athleticism. But the thing is, Ryman is like a worse version of Theo Johnson in terms of like pass catching abilities. Like he ran routes, but it was more like, a lot of them were like check downs. He didn't really improve that route tree his 4 years at Illinois. But as a blocker, he's probably the best blocker in this class, given like especially with the athletic profile that he's provided. So I think he has a lot of potential if he ever unlocks that wide receiving skills, but we'll see. He'll definitely be out there blocking. He's like a K-Dot and is a much better blocker like than K-Dot, but definitely needs to improve that pass catching and route tree in the next level. And finally, to round out my list is Jared Wiley, who also tested pretty well at the combine, and then who had a mini breakout this last year. He's more in the mold of that, you know, wide receiving tight end, but very athletic. His blocking skills are not great. Like, it's decent because he has the good size, but definitely to improve that in the next level. But yeah, those are my guys. I mostly focus on, you know, later guys so they get more exposure, but for the most part I think these guys have the traits to be good in the next level, or even better, or has the potential to be much better than where they will be taken. So peace.